Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. Excited to have everybody in here with us on this wonderful Wednesday. And Wednesday's there for our guy, Mr. Aaron James Hawk. Hop on in here, Age. There he is. Where's
I didn't
the
even have
call?
it on today.
I don't even know where my phone. Oh, here it is.
Yeah. I
What's
was going to put it
interesting?
on. Don't worry about it. I just put it on while we're talking, so I got it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
just random Hawk fires.
Please.
Here's the best part. So yesterday, Age. I don't know if do you ever have to deal with like the blackouts, like not blackouts, but like when they're working on power lines, they'll have scheduled power outage. Have you guys had that before?
Oh yeah, many times.
So you do your show from home. Obviously, you're operating through the internet right now, which you need the power to do. And so yesterday we had one of those scheduled at our place. I'm sure your place down here probably the same thing. And it was from 9 to 2. So it's like that's a pretty big window. And Court tells me about it at about, I don't know, like 8:30. I was like, well, I've already got a show. We've got Bill Bender coming on. Like I got a lot of stuff in the air. And I was like, I'll wait till about 12 o'clock. If the power isn't on by then, because I got to the house and it was off, I was like, if the power's not back on by then, I was like, what I'm going to do is I'll head over to the armory with Schlegs. And so we had an option. You know, we could have each had our own computer up, you know, or each like kind of doing our thing, and you worry about reverb if we're too close or whatever. So instead, I mean, what did we do? Just stepbrothers that thing.
Yes.
Just straight up two dudes, a dude stack popping out when the time is right. And it was pretty remarkable. I think there was a lot of folks that liked it. So you might need to do the dude stack more.
Schlegs, hey, I think you guys should probably
listen, man. I mean,
one or two episodes a week.
I mean, we should 100%, AJ. It just really tied the room together, brought us close. I didn't like sit back in the back like that, and then Bobby would just point over his shoulder as like, "Oh, it's your time to speak." And you go like this, and like kind of like, "Yeah, I'm ready. I got you. We know the cues between our show. It's perfect."
You maybe next time Bob can wear a baby Bjorn and you can sit on facing forward on his chest.
Well, what about that would be full cowboy? What about reverse cowboy? What are your thoughts on that?
I think you guys could explore the space. You could really figure it
Well,
out.
that
Like,
is
this
a
show would
baby
be very
Bjorn.
entertaining.
That is what a baby Bjorn. Like, if they're facing forward, that technically
you guys can
is
charge
what
like you
you
can charge
mentioned.
subscriptions there though. If you do that, you'll
That
start
would be like an
charging
OnlyFans
subscriptions.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys will make a ton of cash. So watch out.
Charge it
Charge it to winning. Exactly. Boom.
So I don't know. I mean, how that works, Pat. Can you stream this into OnlyFans too? Is that something that we could do as well? Because
we just do it like certain parts of the show. It's like shirts are off,
premium,
or we just show our feet. We just have a camera on our feet.
Well, that's what McLean, my daughter, said. She goes, Dad, I was like, you're never going to get a job, make money. She goes, I'll be fine. I'll just put my dogs on Foot Finder. I'm like, that's what the kids, they say. You laugh at that. That was her response.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a whole new world, isn't it, Bob? You got to embrace it. You got to just help them navigate through it. But you're right. There's all different kind of ways to make money, I guess. We just got to figure out the best way.
I mean, let me ask you this, AJ. Hey, real fast, AJ. Yeah. Like, do you think your feet are sexy or gross enough to be on there? Or if you had an OnlyFans, like, I wonder if there was like a thing where people look up like quads, right? Like just straight up like quad content. What would be that part outside of dogs? You know, like let's not talk about those things, but just outside of that, what would be that area that you think people would be like, oh man, like I want to take more looks, more eyebobs at that?
I mean, I think that if you've thought of it, Schlegs, like people are into it. If you've come up with some weird scenario in your head, the people have done it and tried all over the world, I guess. But the feet thing is weird. People are into like feet. And going back to your question, my feet are not gross. My feet are surprisingly actually in great shape, like not hairy, not crazy, nasty. Like I take good care of them. I'm impressed. Like I'm not embarrassed of my feet like some people are, even though my toes been jammed in cleats forever. It's okay, but you know, it's like people are like, I think people love calves. Calves are something that they're very genetic though. You're born like I think with your calves, yeah. So I think I think anyone would be into that, right, Schlegs?
They just like, hey. So if somebody wants to see some skinny calves, man, I got them. Side nugget, I'll put up the girls today, the Columbus Street, because I wasn't there training them, but we put in there because they haven't seen me wear non-pants and boots because it's the winter time. And that's what I wear. So yesterday it was sunny, 70 degrees. So I wore some Jordans and some shorts. And they were like, oh my gosh, like covered their eyes because of my calves. But then in like the team chat, like today, they said that they did an extra set of calf raises just for me. And I had posted in there, hey, should I wear high tops? Like, what would look better, low tops or high tops, to really accentuate my calves? And they just said, hey, we love you for who you are. That made me filled my bucket. But anyway, side nugget, my calves are terrible.
Well,
No, they're great.
I asked him, AJ, yesterday, I go, do you think your 2 calves is equal to one of Luke Nutter's single calves?
Luke Nutter, yeah, this is a deep cut for people that don't know Luke Nutter, but yes, Luke was on the Buckeye Cruise, and each one of Luke's calves might weigh 70 pounds. Like, his calves are no joke. And they're not like he's not cankles or anything, just big old ham hocks on his calves. I don't know if he's always been like that or not, but yeah, you couldn't dream of making your calves that big if you did calf raises every day of your life.
It's
I don't know. Is it my turn? Did you ask that question? I don't even know. I don't even know how this is going. Hey, so let's talk about this. So you're wearing the black. What is something that's new? You know what? Bump that. Let's go to real stuff. Talk to us about Eddie George being the head football coach at Bowling Green. What that does for the state of Ohio. What that does for Ohio State. Thoughts, AJ Hawk.
I love it. I mean, I love it too, because not only is Eddie getting an unbelievable opportunity at Bowling Green, he did a great job before that. Look at, like, I think it's cool to see the clips of Eddie playing that continue to come out now. And like, oh, Eddie George, here's the new Bowling Green head coach, and they show highlights from his college days and his pro days. Like, that dude was so fun to watch play. And then he gets off the plane in Bowling Green and he looks the exact same still. Like, 30 years later, the dude looks the exact same. Like, he could still play in the NFL right now. So I'm pumped for him, man. I think it's awesome for Ohio. I mean, imagine Eddie George coming to your high school to, like, recruit kids. That'd be pretty sweet.
It'd be amazing. Imagine, you know what we need to do, Schlegs? We need to get Eddie, when he comes through recruit, to come over to the Armory. We need to get Age down there. They got a sauna, AJ, that they had wheeled up. And yesterday, Schlegs got in the sauna we got in together. It's a wood-fired sauna. It's about 220 in there. And I thought our dude was tough. I got to keep talking him into, like, not wanting to walk outside because he keeps wanting to go get fresh air. But we spent a good 30 minutes in there, dude. I felt lean. I felt like so warm and, like, good afterwards. It was pretty amazing.
So you had Schlegs, even though it's sauna something that you do every day, Schlegs, because 220 for 30 minutes, that's a long time. And I know in a sauna, if you feel like you're not in control of when you get in or you get out of that thing, that can be a real mental test for you. If you feel like Bob's holding you hostage in there, that would be tough.
Well, let's go back to the start. So to Bob's point, I do like doing hard things, but I also am a schizophrenic cat that has a lot of things going on in a short amount of time to do them. And I was also leaving the next day. So I like to set everybody up for success when I am gone and be ready. And I already got in there because we had Kay, John Simon, Brian Peters, and that's Brian Peters' portable sauna, because he's all over the country doing stuff in the NBA and MLB, doing breath work. It's called Breathing for Performance. That's why it's at the Armory. But yeah, we should definitely go in there and do that, because I did it earlier, and then me and Bob are in there talking. It's like, it's not that I want to get out of the sauna. I would be in there all the time because it makes me feel great. I like going 15 on, like 3 to 5 off, and then 15 on is probably my favorite. But I just had so much stuff to do. It's like, oh my gosh. But again, just like us three talking right here on the Bobby Carpenter show, we just like spending time to each other. Bob just likes to throw the nugget that I'm not doing hard things. And you know what? I appreciate it, because it gets me thinking, why am I being soft? And then I'm like, I'm not being soft. I just have shit to do. That's also in a rap song.
You big sauna guy, AJ?
Yeah, I have been. I never used to be, but yeah, I am. I'm definitely into it now. Every time I do it, I actually feel great, feel so much better. But your Schlegs is right though. Sometimes if you only have, say you got like 30 or 40 minutes, yeah, if you're I don't like being in a rush. I need to know, like, hey, like, there's nothing going on, or my kids are asleep, or everything's fine. I can just hang out as long as I want. If I get in the sauna, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing body weight squats, like little dips hanging off the bench. Like, I'm moving around the whole time. But I'm with Schlegs though. I want to pop outside, maybe not for 3 minutes. I want to pop outside and get some fresh air for like 30 seconds even, maybe, and then pop back in.
I thought you'd be a guy like, just get there, AJ. I know you're a big reader. Bring in, your little Nook or Kindle overheat. AJ's a big reader, but like, I like to
I know he is.
I'm an audio book. I'm an audio guy, so like my phone, I've realized, will overheat. So if you put it on the bottom of the sauna, it's much cooler down there because heat rises, as they taught me as a young kid. And I learned that my phone will overheat and shut down. So you can put your phone down at the bottom and put on your favorite audiobook or podcast and listen to that.
I learned that the hard way. I was interviewing Schlegs. We actually did an interview from the sauna on the boat together.
Yes.
Twin dudes, twin dongs in there, and it overheated at like 9 minutes. So we had to finish it up kind of outside afterwards.
I looked at those saunas. I didn't go in them, but I was actually with Schlegs when we went and we saw those things. Those are pretty tiny. What were those? Were those sold as like 1 or 2 man saunas, and you guys both jammed in there and did an interview?
You could dude stack.
No, I think that's a 4. I think that's a 4-man. I think that's a 4-man sauna, but it might be a little weird because you'd have 2 guys on the top, 2 guys on the bottom. And I don't know how you would situate that between, you guys sit in between each other's legs or whatever. And then you're just dripping sweat on each other. Like, what's that? Don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep, that's true.
Anyways,
they say that all the time.
Wait,
they say that all.
Don't have your balls sweat on my back and tell me it's raining. That's a little more what it would be.
Yeah, facts. Hey, Age.
Hold on,
right,
no.
So,
which is
what?
more? Which would you rather have?
Okay.
Dude, like a leak on your back or dude's ball sweat on your back? Let's be real.
But you gotta think like, all right, go ahead, Age. I want to hear this because
I was just gonna say like I don't really like to deal with hypotheticals, so I don't want to be in that situation. So I'm gonna try to make the decision.
One of them's not a hypothetical. I know that you've had one on your back before.
I don't want anyone sweating on me. I don't want anyone's balls.
Well, technically, hold on. Since we did play together at Ohio State and in the shower, and then also doing those carries with the dude behind you, shirtless
on the back.
Yeah, you gotta find the pictures of that. Yeah, you got it. You're doing the wheelbarrow thing, 100 yards. Like you got to find those pictures of you and Schlegs out there at the Woody. I remember those.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I walked into Courtney's house when she lived at Ohio State. It was her and 3 other girls. And they had the picture of me and Schlegs on there with their faces cut out and put on the fridge.
Oh, that's awesome. That's you have to splice that in or something, or get that picture back up. There's a couple cool ones. They let the media in one day of our 6 a.m.s, isn't that right? And we just happened to be doing that day.
Yeah, and Fick told us keep your shirts on. I think you had your knee scope, so you weren't maybe a part of it.
Yeah.
And me and Schlegs, of course, took it off, and we're running, and we're laughing because if you've ever heard the skin sound like a squeegee of 2 dudes smushed together as
on your back, so sweaty and gross and good time. I mean, especially like it's weird that you guys are talking about. Bob bringing up that hypothetical because, guys, everybody that's out there, I tore my right MCL week 6 of the 04 season. And I'm like hobbling in there. And, of course, what happens? Boom. I'm just like over there in the corner just doing my deal, and then all of a sudden I can't move. It's like, wrapped up with ice and I'm just kind of hobbling around on it. And what happens? 2 dudes pissing on my legs. Guess who they are? Those 2 guys right there. Like this guy and that guy. I don't even know if I'm pointing in the right direction because I can't see it. But like that's what it was. And it's just like, hey, you know what? Charge it to win it. I can't do nothing. That's on me. Don't get hurt. Have stronger knee.
Exactly. All right, H. What a lot of money thrown around. I mean, I looked at my last year in the league, 2012. I think the salary cap was like 212 million, maybe 215. Now it's 112. Now it's 270 or whatever it is. Tons of huge deals flying around. Like, what was kind of the most surprising thing you saw yesterday?
Man, I mean, all of it. The last couple of days, it's happening so fast. These guys signing, and sometimes you're not super aware of who these guys are, and they're getting huge money. And it makes sense though. Like, when I sit there and I see, O lineman, D lineman getting crazy money, I'm glad because that's what's awesome. The salary cap continues to go up and up, so it's more for players to pull from. But I'm definitely like wondering. When does it ever does it ever max out, or are quarterbacks going to be like there'll be $100 million a year quarterback? Like when will that be? How long until we get to that point? And it's just the NFL is king, man. The NFL they bring all the eyeballs, they bring all the money, and we're seeing it right now. That's why it's covering the NFL and watching the NFL. It's a full year. It's a year-round situation. Like it truly is. How everything is a big deal. Like this free agency period, boom, and we're going to go right into all this draft talk and pro days and everything. So yeah, the NFL they're doing all right. They just need to make sure they don't mess this thing up because it's going in the right direction.
Great segue into this. So let's talk about you. You go back to it. This is what's great about the NIL. Guys can stay. Right, you could have easily left. Both of you two could have easily left after your junior year. You stay, improve your draft stock, go through the combine, which we all did. We all trained together, which was super fun. And then now you're getting ready for the pro day and you start to have your interviews in that process. How did that look? Did you know that you were going to Green Bay? Did you have teams that you had interviewed with that you're like, man, these guys really like me, like that's a good fit, and then you end up going to somewhere else? Or walk us through that process for you.
Yeah, I actually I took definitely some visits before the draft. I think I went out to Detroit. I went to San Francisco, New Orleans, a bunch of the teams that were drafting like in the front end of the first round, I guess. I had no idea where I was going, though. I really didn't. The Packers didn't bring me in for one of those, they call them like the 30 visits that they get. They didn't bring me in. So I had no idea if they liked me or not. I didn't think they did because I didn't hear anything from them after I talked to them at the combine. So I was secretly hoping to go there. I saw where they were picking. I thought there's a chance I could go there. And so when I heard my name called, I was a little surprised, but I was excited too, because that's truly where I wanted to go. But yeah, everyone's different. I think Ted Thompson was the GM at the time, talking to him later, I think he felt pretty good about it. He knew he was going to draft me early on before the draft. So he didn't have to bring me in and talk to me. I guess he kicked the tires. He saw enough for me and on my interviews and stuff at the combine that he felt confident picking me. But yeah, it's unique. I think every team handles it so different. It changes every single year. And I guess if I was an exec and I was someone trying to make the decision of whether to draft guys or not, I'd want to get them in a room. I'd want to talk to them. I'd want to hang out with them for a day or so and just see how they interact with people. And then obviously they're going to do their homework and talk to everybody around their program they come from and see what they really think, and hopefully make the best guess when it comes to making a draft pick.
It's good. So you get to Green Bay, 2 quarterbacks there. I mean, who's better, Brett or Aaron?
I'm not going to lie. I got there. I get drafted, and then the next weekend we had mandatory minicamp, and it was the whole team because Mike McCarthy, it was his first year, so it wasn't just rookies. So Brett Favre's there, my first minicamp ever, like Thursday afternoon. I'm still in school taking classes, and I know Aaron was there too, and I remember watching Aaron play in college, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, is this is every quarterback in the NFL? Do they all throw the ball like this? Like, are they all this good with this unbelievable, this quick release and just crazy competitive, fiery guys? Like even in April of an OTA or a minicamp, I definitely got a skewed vision of what a quarterback is, because I come in, I played, Brett was the starter for my first 2 years, and then Aaron takes over. And both those guys are they're absolute freaks and what they can do with the football and how they play. So yeah, I'd say I was lucky to be around some stud quarterbacks.
Aaron, you think you think it's Pittsburgh? I mean, I know you haven't.
I don't know. I hope he goes to Pittsburgh selfishly so we can drive and see him play against the Browns and Bengals and even get out to Pittsburgh possibly. My kids want to see him play in person again, so they wanted that to happen. But I don't know. I mean, it's such a weird situation. I guess there's between Pittsburgh and the Giants probably is what they're saying. And
yeah,
I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what each team is thinking. I'm sure they both want him for sure.
Hey, when you think about this and go into it, if you played with some of your former guys, Buckeyes, I know Wilhelm was there with you. Justin Fields goes to New York. He's with Garrett Wilson. Who's up there too?
Jeremy Ruckert.
Yep. Jeremy Ruckert's up there. So how cool is that then to also be in the league? Because you form relationships with guys, because it's crazy. You can be in the league for a long time around those guys longer than you were when you were in college. But college is just such a unique situation because you're there. Now it's different because of the portal, but you're with those guys. You have a lot of not only camaraderies, but stories and experiences. And then all of a sudden now Justin's going back playing with Garrett Wilson, Ruckert. How was that for you in the league, playing with guys that you played with at Ohio State?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, anytime you play against a guy that you played with at Ohio State, it was cool. It was fun to, after the game, to go get to catch up and talk to him. And also especially, I remember, I don't know if it was a preseason game or regular season, I playing against Tony Pittman, and I tackled T Pitt, and I was getting up, and he put his hand up for me to help him up. And I was like, T Pitt, there's no way I'm helping you up. There's no way. And he just laughed at me, and then his O-lineman helped him up. And then after the game, we joked about it, but I was like, come on, there's no chance I'm doing that, bud. But yeah, it was great. And like you said, Matt Wilhelm. So Wilhelm was a senior my freshman year, and then Wilhelm signed with the Packers early on the season that we went and won the Super Bowl. So it was awesome seeing Wilhelm show up and then just getting to be in the linebacker room with him every single day, and then going through, and we were lucky enough to win a Super Bowl. Like it was awesome. Like it really was. It's super cool because you have all these memories and different stories. And then of course people see you hanging out to go, oh, okay, Buckeyes don't leave each other's side and all that stuff. And all right, yeah. Sorry, we're loyal, I guess.
Sorry for being loyal. Hey, there's worse things in life to be than loyal. AJ, you are loyal to the show here every Wednesday. We appreciate it, man. I know we kept you too long. You got Pat coming up, so give him our best. And hopefully we'll see Aaron popping up here in a Pittsburgh Steelers hat on the McAfee show at some point.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Let's hope that happens and happens soon. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, AJ Hawk, the great AJ Hawk, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, kind enough to join us on Wednesdays. All right, coming up next, Buckeyes. There's a new coach that's back, or rather an old coach that has returned in maybe a little different role. Schlegs and I will talk about that next here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and we've got some other stuff to talk about here. We got some coaching stuff. Before we get to that, I want to tell our parents and athletes out there, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including the patented use of carbon fiber. They custom 3D print that thing to your own grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. All right, Schlegs. It's a guy.
Hey, Bob.
Ohio State.
Bob.
Yeah.
Real fast. I want to throw a shout out. I haven't been home in 21 days. So I came home last night, and what was there? My birthday present from my family. And it was special because I got the Waffle House ready combo. So I got a Waffle House coffee cup, some Waffle House Keurig stuff, Waffle House waffle mix, bam, and Waffle House syrup. I'm gonna be eating those probably Thursday night as like a family dinner, maybe Friday. We'll just make it a special occasion. We're gonna pound these. But I just want to throw a shout out to my family and also Waffle House because it's the best. Anyways, let's go.
That's pretty sweet, Schlegs. For those that
Thank you.
were wondering,
And you can
Schlegs,
only fill 8 ounces in here. These are like tiny cups in the middle. Look how girthy that lip is and how it's contoured. So it just right into the old gullet.
Well,
Yeah,
that's for your espresso, Schlegs. You know, you put your little espresso in there and maybe a double shot of it and slurp it down, dude.
Boom.
That sounds good.
Charge it to win it.
Schlegs turned 44 on March 1st on the cruise, for those that were wondering. All right. Another Buckeye who I think is about 50 now, which is crazy because the last time he was at Ohio State, and he recruited me out of high school when he was at Miami, Ohio, I believe. Been around the state of Ohio for a long time, but Taylor Johnson going to be returning to Ohio State. Previously with the Buckeyes, the cornerbacks coach from 2007 to 11, and then he came in 18, was there for just a year. But he is going to be working as an analyst with the defensive backs, Tim Walton, Matt Guerrieri, helping coach the corners and safeties. Really, really talented coach. He spent last year at Tennessee in a similar capacity. Before that, he was an assistant D-backs coach for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023, the defensive passing game coordinator and safeties coach at Eastern Michigan in 2022, and he was assistant coach for the Raiders for 3 years from 19 to 21. As I mentioned, he was also at Temple, Miami, Ohio Schlegs, 05 and 06, and also with Purdue in Arkansas before that. So he's been around, been in the Big
Yep.
Ten. He's been in the NFL. And I will say this. I think Tabor is a really good position coach. And he did a good job when he was here at Ohio State, does a good job relating to players. And now that you can have as many on-the-field coaches as you want, like getting these guys who are experienced to get them on the field and be able to do this is huge. Like it is a total game changer for places like Ohio State and for the players who are going to benefit immensely from this.
I mean, there's so many positives to this, Bob. One, when you have there's only so much bandwidth that we all possess. And when you have veteran coaches that can communicate and spread out the things that you need to be able to do, and Tabor can be, I'm just a ball coach, right? Like we saw that from Chip Kelly. I don't want to be a head coach anymore. I want to come be an offense coordinator and get back in the weeds of doing what I love to do, which is coaching. It's awesome because he doesn't have to go recruit, right? And then when you do have recruits in, he can talk to them. You got guys with experience of OG and G, and now Tabor and Matt Patricia and what they're trying to do for the guys, but also it allows Walt and G to be able to go recruit. Hey, guess what? You're breaking down film. You're putting the clips on. You're doing all the different stuff like in the weeds of the game while they're also doing the recruiting side. But then you can come together and you're constantly communicating so you can spread that out as opposed to back in the day you had an offensive GA and a defensive GA, and you had an offense quality control coach and you had a defense quality control coach. So you only had 4. You only had 2 per side of the ball. Remember that, Bob? That did basically the grunt work. Now you can spread that out through a lot of people that also know a lot of ball and know exactly what you want to look for, as opposed to you telling somebody, hey, I need all the P and 10s. I need all the first downs, on our side of the 50. I need these situations. Like they already know what everybody's looking at because that's what you do when you're breaking down film. Huge grab for the Buckeyes. And here's the other thing, too. When you go to Ohio State, and we always say developed here, in 2025, developed here has to mean everybody gets developed here because let's face reality. There's the portal. And so if you know that I'm constantly developing all guys, regardless of where they are on the pecking order, they're more likely to stay because of the time invested. I see it in the weight room all the time. Doesn't matter if you're a practice squad guy or a starter. I'm going to coach you hard. I'm going to coach you the same. I'm going to be fanatical about how I maximize your genetic potential. Now you can do this on the field, and it gets more buy-in from the guys. And when they want to make that decision, hey, I could go to this place or I could stay at Ohio State. And yeah, Cody Simon only started for 1 year. Look what he did for his career as opposed to going somewhere else. That's in the equation because you're developing all guys. And you can do that because you have great coaches that are now assistants in those different positions, Bob.
Absolutely, Schleiks. And that's a big piece of it. And how they're able to lean in and, like you said, develop them up and down the chain. And like you have 11 guys on the field or 22, I guess, going back and forth against each other. The more eyes you can have on individual positions, like the better it is. And so having 3 or 4 guys help the defensive backs, you watch this safety, I watch this safety, you take this corner, I'll take the corner nickel on this side. And now you're coaching them in real time. And so it makes a huge difference. The ability then to correct things on the fly, be able to have success with that. And
you got me texting a guy right now. You got me texting a guy right now that I think's going to be there. I'm just going to be like, WTF? Like, what's going on? When are we breaking this news? We got to get him on. He could break it for us. Anyways, sorry, side nugget. There's more to come, I think. There's more to come, I think.
What do you mean more to come? Explain.
More elite level type people adding to this staff. I just see it. Happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody wants to be a Buckeye, Schleiks. You know that.
Well, and the thing is this, so Tabor also knows what it means to be a Buckeye because he was here for a long time and won a lot of football games. And when guys have this type of position, you got to think about this, guys. When you're the best, like you want to go work for companies that are going to be able to promote you. And sometimes you got to come back and it's a reset because people that are at Northwestern or people at Purdue that are maybe an offensive coordinator or whatever, they're not getting the next big job that's out there. Guess who are they looking for? They're looking for the assistant coaches, the offensive defensive coordinators or an assistant coach at Ohio State for those jobs are out of Alabama or out of Georgia or out of Texas. Like that's who they're looking for. So you can come back as an analyst, boom, somebody, Brian Hartline, does well over the next 2 years, gets a job. Hey, who am I bringing my stuff with? It gives them an opportunity to work in and with those guys to say, man, this would be a great fit on my staff. Boom. Now you're going to be my defensive backs coach, right? Or whatever. Like that's so when you're great, when you're elite, you start bringing in elite talent. But the thing for Tabor is like he also knows what it means to be a Buckeye, and he can relate that to the guys too while they're on there. Plus, it also helps him and whoever moves on to get a head job. I already got pieces of the puzzle. You're coming with me.
Absolutely. All right, Schlegs, we've got a little announcement for someone changing the field, changing their name. Little naming going on. We're selling everything in college football. Who did it and what is it? Coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
All right, Schlegs, here we go now. As promised, everybody's selling everything in college football now. I mean,
sell it.
You got to raise money. And Penn State, in the Big Ten, they're not immune from it. Ohio State, they haven't done anything. They've got some field. I believe it's the Safe Flight field. Is that what they did, Schlegs? Like they have some Safe Flight on the field in the shoe.
Safe Flight repair, Safe Flight replace, baby. They're a Columbus brand. Let's go.
I'm not debating that. But
by the way, side nugget.
But they wanted to do it in a subtle way because nobody wants to rename like the shoe. The company that did that, it would almost work against them because people would be so frustrated that was the case. So Penn State, Front Office Sports had this. Penn State has announced a $50 million field naming gift. That sounds about right. The iconic Beaver Stadium. Schlegs always said, he goes, when you're at night in the Beav, things can get a little hairy down there, Schlegs. It's a little squirrely at field level. It's now going to be called West Shore Home Field at Beaver Stadium beginning in the 2025 season through 2039 season. So basically, 15 years there. Schlegs, when you heard of that, what did you think about the West Shore Home Field?
West Shore Home sounds like a assisted living place. And I was just looking this up. Let's see. That's cheap, man. That's cheap. That's 15 years. That's only like 3.3 million a year to be able to have them. And they're going to be saying it all the time. Like, you know what? You're also in freaking Unso Happy Valley. So nobody really cares. So it's probably a good deal for them. Like the shoes got to at least get, 5 to 10, right? Like, what are we talking about? But that, to me, when I saw that, and everybody does that in high school because you'll have a high school stadium and you want to name a field after somebody. Yeah. I believe at Alabama, they got, it's whatever their stadium is. And it's Nick Saban Field, I believe. Right. So,
yeah,
but I don't, there is no money involved in that. And I think when you go in and you're understanding hey, how are we going to pay these players? What are about all of our sports? What's the athletic department doing, et cetera, et cetera. You have to look to different ways of being able to generate revenue. And this is just it. I would just like to hope that Ohio State doesn't sell the field naming rights for $3.3 million a year.
Well, Schlegs, I mean, everybody's for sale, but you just hope that it's a little bit more expensive.
What would a good one be? That would be a good one for the chat. What would be a good
Bobby Carpenter Field? I think
Bobby Carpenter Field at Ohio Stadium. I mean, could you imagine? Whether it's Brett Musburger or on the banks of the Olentangy.
Brent
doesn't. Ohio Stadium. I know he doesn't do it anymore, but it was old school when we played, right?
Yeah.
right? Ohio State, the shoe, Ohio Stadium, Bobby Carpenter Field, the Ohio State Buckeye. Like that sounds sexy, man. Bob, like something that maybe we need to start like one of those paid for things. I don't even know what those are called. GoFundMe deals so we can get
Go,
the naming
go
rights.
Yeah,
Is that
well,
what those are called?
it's called
GoFundMe?
it's called GoFundMe, Schlegs.
Yeah, see, I got it right. I'm not into all the things that the kids are talking about these days.
Yeah, but we'll throw some stuff in the chat there. Like, let us know. We got some tailgate talk here coming up in a minute, and we'll after the headlines. Got a huge headline today too.
Well,
By
I
the
would
way,
like Soldier, and I would like Soldier Field. And you know what? This reminds me, I got to call my guy up because I'm going to make a t shirt, and it literally is going to have like racks and like lifting equipment on it, like instead of the mountains of Folgers, but it's going to have hardcore stuff, and it's just going to say Soldiers on it. But Soldier Field, yes, right? That would be amazing. That would be so sexy. Everybody's
oh,
in there. Like, before you can enter, like you got to do at least 5 garage beer, boom, curls. You know what I mean? Like, something like that. That'd be
okay,
amazing.
I would like that, Schlegs. That'll be great. All right, we got our headlines coming up next. Big headline, big birthday today in Buckeye
Ooh,
Nation. I have to log this now in my brain because I know that Woody's is Valentine's Day. Another big
yep.
one here coming up today. Find out next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, time to throw it up there. I don't know what number coach he is at Ohio State, but he is, I believe, the fourth coach to win a national championship. Fifth. Paul,
Fifth.
Woody, Tress, Urban, Ryan. Fifth coach in Ohio State history to win a national championship. Ryan Day, happy birthday, sir. I'm not sure how old he is. I'm guessing maybe 45,
40.
46.
I may know. Well, how old am I? 44. I think Ryan's probably 47, 48. Guess what? It's called the Google machine. It's
No,
called
he's
the Google
40. He's
machine.
46. So
Dang,
yeah,
cuz.
he's
He
only
looks good. Yeah.
he's only 2 years older than you, Schleich. So
Yeah.
is it good or bad?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what though? I feel young. There's a song. What's that like? Forever Young. We're
Yeah,
forever young. It's like something like that. Like that's how I feel.
yeah.
I feel like I'm 28.
I'm just happy for Ryan because of everything that obviously has happened with him, and now getting to celebrate this birthday. I'm sure his 46th birthday is a lot better than maybe some of the other ones have been. Like just once you win that national championship, not that it changes you as a person, and not that it should, but I guarantee you the feeling around him and the feeling around Columbus, like he's such a great guy. And there's so many haters out there who, wanted to bury his butt. I'm happy that he's our coach. I'm happy that he's the man that he is that leads his team, getting to see him on the Buckeye Cruise Schlegs and just how he interacts with his guys and how he interacts with his family and the fans. Like you couldn't ask for someone. So a huge, huge happiest 46th birthday to our guy, Ryan Day. If you were Ryan Day Schlegs, how would you be celebrating that birthday?
Waffle House ready? I mean, that's what I
Go to
would
Waffle
do.
House? That sounds good.
Yeah, go to Waffle House. Get a sweet. This is how I'd celebrate my birthday. I mean, obviously I was on the cruise, but if I could, perfect day scenario. Boom, wake up, get super bumpy with the dudes. Right? I told you guys all the time, like you got to have great
Bumpy
training
with your wife?
partners. Well, that was a prerequisite. I didn't have to mention that. Like
Okay.
that's birthday to me. And at the time of day, it doesn't matter. Like it's gonna happen. But boom, get bumpy, workout. Boom, go to Waffle House. Boom, do some farm work, like get outside and just like do some stuff, shoot my bow, maybe shoot some guns. I don't know, just do all those things, do things with the fam, right? Go out to dinner or whatever. But that's how I would do it.
I like it.
Maybe leg day. So where I'm struggling walking around for the rest of the day. I'm walking out, flushing the lymphatic drainage system while I'm doing other work. That'd be a great day.
You know what I would do, Slags? I would go
What
run.
would you do?
I would go run the conditioning test.
Well, that's what you do. Like you do that.
Yeah,
Tell
it's
everybody
fun.
what you do, which is an absolutely terrible thing. And honestly, I say it's terrible, but it's not, because you're in great shape and you keep moving. Because like if you don't use it, you lose it, and like you still run the conditioning test. And like you even posted it last year.
So
there you are running half gassers and stuff.
it's interesting. Like
it's our conditioning test. It's not even the one that they have now, which is significantly easier. It was our conditioning test that people shit themselves in.
Yeah, well, that's true. Big Mop, R.I.P. or not R.I.P. but shout out to Big Mop. Yesterday it was some rough news, some tough things were coming through, and Tuesdays are my field running day, and so I went there. No one was on the Woody. It's great. Everyone's on spring break. Went on the field, and I was running some 110 legs. I ran 16 of them, and I just started like sprinting the ones at the end, balls out. I felt like, I don't know. I mean, it was like, let's just go. Let's just make this hurt, and we're going to do that. And then I went over and I showered and I did our show with you. And then we hopped in the sauna afterwards because our power was out. I took that freezing cold shower. So that was bumpy, but happy for Ryan. Hopefully he's having a great day with his family, with Nina. He's been traveling around doing all this. He's got spring ball coming up next week, and just very, very excited and happy for him. Some big stuff coming up for me. We'll talk about it later this week, but we're going down to the Bahamas, and I've got my anniversary coming up, Schlegs, and then my daughter's birthday. So that's all bumpy and going to be fun with that. But a big happy birthday to our coach, Ryan Day, who is one of my all-time favorites here at Ohio State and one of the great human beings outside of being a great coach that you will find. All right, coming up next, we've got our tailgate talk, Schlegs, where we'll answer your questions. So fire them up, and let's get ready to go here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer. All right, welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show. Back in, please, if you're watching this, like, subscribe, leave comments, all the great things. We appreciate it. This is growing by leaps and bounds, Schlegs, about to 10,000 subscribers. So doing something, I think, a little bit right as we get rolling. One of the questions coming here from our tailgate talk, brought to you by our friends over at Real Truck. Check them out. Update your truck, Jeep Bronco. I had the Jeep out yesterday, too, by the way, Schlegs. It was nice driving that thing around, feeling really good. One of the questions was, what do you think the spring showcase will entail?
Yeah. I think it's going to be probably, did they do this back in the day? I think we did it with Urban one time. I think you're going to see offense, defense, scarlet and gray. I think that the defense will be the gray, the scarlet will be the offense. And I think you're going to have like 1v1s and then some other people that are, ones kind of twos probably go. Now, that's one way to do it. If you see all these people canceling, you're like, you know what? I don't want to do that at all, and say who our ones are, because they potentially want to come back in the second portal and say, I need more money. Then what you do is you just mix the bag. You just like, whatever, right? And the coaches know it's something that they vet. And I think this might how it plays out. It's like there's offense, there's defense. Here we go. Or you do the teams, and some of your ones are going to get a little bit of time. They might get a couple series that the Caleb's, the JJs of the world, whatever. The Sonny, but then they're out, and then it's just everybody else, and it's probably going to be situational football. I just see it as like a bigger practice. There will be a point system, but I think you're going to get a quality product, but it's going to be very much like a scrimmage versus this team versus that team, in my honest opinion. Bob, what do you got?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It was kind of like that last year. I mean, I think that it's been moving this way. This isn't some big seismic shift. To me, Schlegs, it's been a little bit more of incremental change. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you throw them in the chat. We can always dive into the show tomorrow with them. But I don't think this is some like big change. Like Schlegs, it's been a long time. It's been since Tress where they would line up, do 4 15-minute quarters, divide the teams, play that whole thing out, and take 3.5 hours and be awful. Looking at it now, I mean, seriously, Schlegs, think about it. They would play like 2 10-minute quarters and then like a 30-minute or 25-minute running clock. They'd have some carnival stuff. Remember Kerry Combs doing 40 races. Like JT was out there, like Braxton and, whoever else Cardell was throwing, at times when they were gone. It had just like a real Troy Smith came out and threw one year. Like it just had more of an event. So when people came through there, they were having a good time. And being able to experience your Buckeye players, which is what you want to do, get the fans in there, get some of the young guys some play when there's like 70 to 100,000 people in the stadium, which provides its own level, Schlegs, of intrigue and interest with that. And, finally, like you want to get out of there healthy. And so I think that they'll be able to do all of those things and kind of figure that out as we go. But that's it for our tailgate talk today. Like I said, keep firing any of those questions in there.
Oh, there's so many good questions in there. Appreciate you guys.
Here's the good news, Schlegs. We'll just save some of these and we'll use them tomorrow. Buckeyes shouldn't be too hard. We'll get that done for you. That's it for Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. All right, coming up next, Schlegs will wrap up the show with his parting thoughts. All right, Schlegs, final thoughts. Wrap it up.
Put that on there, Pat. Put that on there, man. So they came out with no, that's the absolute wrong one. That's basketball, bro. It's in the sheet.
No, we're going to put that up there because that's what we're going to do because it's on this date, so it's timely and it's precious. This is
do it. You speak about it.
15 years ago in the Big Ten tournament, hitting the half quarter to win this son of a gun. It's amazing. This was to win the Big Ten, I believe. As he gets this, watch this, like 2 dribble, hits this big 3, and bingo. Buckeyes
15 years ago today.
Yeah, there's your boy John Diebler, Jake's brother right there. Thad Mata celebrating. It's all the goodness of what you want to see. Look at the cheerleaders, slap hands. So much fun. Gosh, that was 15 years ago.
Man, you're old, Bob. You're old.
Well, I was looking at the shot with that Matt Sylvester hit to beat Illinois back in 2005. I'm like, that's 20 years ago. My goodness, it was crazy. And that was to beat, obviously, that team up north, which you always love to beat Michigan. All right, that's it for today's show. We'll be coming at you rocking tomorrow at 12:30. Stay locked in here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.